Welcome back to the Garden Hutch. Today we discuss week 8 of 2023. Let's get going. So from a weather standpoint, week 8 was quite mild. We got a little precipitation, no big weather events or anything, which is the first time in a few weeks, so that was kind of nice. The lows never got below freezing, so the garden really enjoyed that. And I think the high of the week, I think it was like 71. Most of the time, though, it was in like the low 60s, upper 50s, which for February, you can't complain a whole lot about. I did want to start this video, though, talking about our chickens. I don't talk about them often, they're not really exciting to a lot of people, but for us here on the homestead, especially lately with the price of eggs, they have more than paid for themselves. So what we have done is we've kept the price of our eggs the exact same as we always have. And I've said it on the channel before, but our goal in selling eggs is simply to make back the money that we spend in feed, and that's it. Other than that, what we really like to do is we like to eat as many of them as we can. So that brings me kind of to the point of this part of the video is all of the chickens that we got last year have reached maturity, of course, and they had been laying, on and off, but now they're all laying every single day. And a lot of the girls that we had beforehand, they're also laying. So it's nothing for us to get, 16 to 18 eggs in a day. So what we've been trying to do is eat about 3 to 4 dozen eggs a week, have them for breakfast. We like quiche a lot. That stuff is delicious. We've also gotten to where our dogs really like the eggs. So our German Shepherd will give her 2, and our Min Pin, she gets 1 each day, and it's really helped their health out quite a bit. So with all that being said, let's just take a quick look at what the top garden had going this past week. I'll just start off by mentioning that the carrots are still doing quite well. They haven't gotten real big. I'll just give you a close up here. But almost all of the seeds that we've planted have come in all the way down the row. So that's exciting. These things usually take about 60 days. So the idea is to have them out about middle of June. So we're kind of on pace to have that done. We may exceed that a little bit, but hey, if we have to start eating carrots in May, I'm not going to complain a whole lot. Something that we did get done this week, it's time to get our cabbages in the ground. We grew cabbages last year and we really enjoyed it. We just last year they grew here, but of course we have our salad greens in there this year. So we put them over here. We're hoping that we can get some pretty good sized cabbages this year. Last year, they were good, but I guess we had higher expectations is what I'm trying to say. So maybe we'll meet them this year. But the idea is because this is going to be our summer pepper bed, regardless of what happens or what size the cabbages are, we will pull these out in the end of April. So, apparently early summer cabbages are sweet anyway. So if they don't quite get to the size, we'll still enjoy them. Another thing that got put in, we had a lot of onions that were ready to come in. So we put in 36 more onions. You can tell I planted these just a bit closer than those over there. Again, it's sort of a kind of a controlled experiment just to see, because if we can get as much out of this, of course, it's a better idea to plant them together. And if not, you kind of live and learn. So next week we'll be putting even more out. So I thought, what the heck, we'd take a shot. And just real quick, since we show this almost weekly lately, just to kind of keep up, you can see now the radishes have come along. These radishes here are on schedule to be able to be pulled and eaten. I don't know, probably by the end of March, I would imagine, if not the middle of March. And then all of the lettuces are coming along really well. The beets haven't gotten much size to them. I believe that frost that we had got a couple of them, but we're going to let them just kind of hang out and see what happens. Apparently, I am just not very good at growing beets. I didn't have much luck in the fall. Now, last spring, I did have quite a bit of luck, but the last 2 times I've seemed to come up short. So I've got more beets in the greenhouse, and so we'll give that a try. Speaking of greenhouse, that was one of the big things we got done this week. So let's go take a look at the greenhouse. So early in week 8, we finished putting the greenhouse up. In last week's vlog, I kind of expressed a bit of frustration with the weather. It was super windy, and putting this thing up in the wind was not easy to do. We ended up enlisting some friends, and that ended up working out a little bit better. So let's take a look. So we'll just start by showing the obvious. It's got these little gutters along the sides here. They're not a whole lot, but they do catch the water pretty well. So what we did was we put buckets at all four corners. Now since then we did, like I said, we did have rain one time this week and the buckets did really well. It filled the buckets about a quarter of the way up and we were able to use that whenever we were watering the seedlings on the inside. Another thing you can see, and we'll see it better whenever we get inside, but these panels here, they're a little flimsy. So we went online and saw some reviews from people that live in areas that were more akin to ours. The instruction manual says that the basic build should hold up to, I believe it said 35-mile-an-hour wind gusts. In the early spring and summertime, it is nothing for us to get, you know, the 45, 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So we had to kind of step it up. So all we did was just kind of seal the edges here with some duct tape. We made it green so that it's doesn't stand out as much, but you know, the truth is that I'd much rather have it be functional than super pretty. Another thing that we did have to do is these gutters came in two pieces, so there's a seam, and we just stuck a piece of duct tape over that before the rain hit, and it seemed to do pretty well. We didn't have a lot of runoff on the bottom. Because we had to build the base to start with, you know, runoff was a big deal. I didn't, being on such a severe slope and such, I didn't want the water to kind of carry everything away. So you can tell all four corners we have the buckets, and when you get a good rain, you know, that's really easy to use that water up pretty quick. All right, let's take a look inside. So this greenhouse is significantly bigger than the other greenhouse that we have. And so far, what we've been doing is using just this table, and then we brought one of the greenhouses, the small ones from indoors, and just took the plastic off of it. It fit perfect, so that was nice. You can see that we are able to fit quite a few trays in here. The idea is that we'll end up using all the surface area on the table, and then in the summer, so like when the sun is up, the sun reaches under the table. So all of these, of course, will be filled by that point with seeds and such. Any of the remaining things will kind of go over here because this table does give quite a bit of shade here. So we'll use this surface area under the table and along this wall to put our seeds as they're germinating before we can, you know, put them in the ground. One thing to note is we are going to we've decided to bring in a couple containers that we use to grow in, and we're going to put them in here early in the year, and we're going to see if we can grow peas. Last year and the year before, our climate did not seem to do very well for the peas because we would start them early and then we'd get a frost and it'd kill them back. And then if they did make it through the frost, it would get too hot in May. That's what happened last year, and it killed them off. So what we're hoping to do is be able to start them here in February from in these trays and such, and then transplant them into the buckets and then grow them in the greenhouse. And hopefully before it gets too hot, we can get ourselves some peas. And then once that time of year rolls around, maybe we can move them out of the greenhouse and kind of make some more room. But this thing is kind of a game changer for us. It gives us a whole lot more room. Next year, I will probably invest in a similar rack to this, depending on how our growing season goes, and maybe extend it along this wall. I haven't quite decided. I really like the idea of having some permanent buckets or larger containers in here so that I can try to grow lettuce through the wintertime. We'll wrap it up here. Just a couple more things real fast before I let you folks go. Number one is your potatoes. We have moved our potatoes into the light. We're going to plant them, I believe, in the 9th of March. So if you have a sunny window or something and you're planning on putting seed potatoes in the ground, now's a good time to kind of put them in the window, get those eyes kind of growing a little bit more. We've also taken a sweet potato that had already started to get vines on it. We put it in the same window. The idea is that we don't want to have to pay for slips this year, so what we're going to try to do is grow our own. That's something we'll show you as time goes on. With all that being said, we always appreciate you folks sticking it out here till the end. Till next time, I hope everybody takes care of themselves. Peace.